A government shutdown is the politicians' equivalent to a game of chicken. Both sides use it as leverage to get what they want in the next year's budget. And while it may not be as exciting to watch as two guys driving at each other to see which will swerve first, it has much bigger implications. Now, depending on who you're listening to, a shutdown is the fault of one side or the other. Here at the Political Stalker, we'll tell you what both sides are saying, and you can decide which one feels right to you. In fact, we'd love to hear what you think in the comments below, and if you'd like a little more political stalking in your life, you can always hit that subscribe button to ensure that we never shut down. First things first, what is a government shutdown and what causes one? Every year, starting October 1st, the government moves forward with a budget in place to fund all of its many agencies, over 400 of them. That includes everything from the National Security Council and the Library of Commerce to the Department of Transportation and the National Park Service. Each of these agencies need money in order to function, and the federal government is where they get it. But in September of every year, the House of Representatives, followed by the Senate, followed finally by the President, must agree on and pass this budget in the form of 12 different bills. And if they don't get it done by October 1st, the government will shut down. There have been 22 government shutdowns since 1976, and the most recent one was in 2018 to 2019 under President Donald Trump. This was the longest shutdown in US history, lasting 35 days, and was caused by whether or not to include $5.7 billion on the US-Mexico border wall. This shutdown affected over 800,000 government employees and cost the US economy an estimated $11 billion. So what would cause this shutdown? And what does it have to do with impeaching President Joe Biden? Maybe nothing, but we'll let you decide that. Imagine a room full of over 400 lawmakers and politicians arguing about 12 different bills that have endless details and fine print that need to be negotiated. Well, that's what's happening right now in the House of Representatives. 222 Republicans and 212 Democrats, and at the front of everything is the House Speaker, Kevin McCarthy. But we'll get back to him in a minute. Amongst the Republicans, there is a group of 45 far-right conservatives called the Freedom Caucus. Caucus is essentially a fancy name for a group. They stand for limiting the government and taking more of a free market approach. They are the political opposite of the Congressional Progressive Caucus, which represent 100 of the far-left Democrats in Congress that believe the government should be given more power in order to achieve the goals that they see important. Go ahead and let us know in the comments real quick if you would actually like to see an in-depth look at the different policies and beliefs of both sides, as there is actually a lot of very interesting information here. But moving on, the Democrat Party is relatively unified on their position for the budget, but the Republicans are split between those who want to compromise with the Democrats in order to keep the government open and those who do not want to compromise, and honestly, don't mind if the government gets shut down for a bit. On the other side of the aisle, many have called out the Democrat-controlled Senate that they and the White House have given the House of Representatives very little wiggle room, essentially forcing them to propose a budget that they never would, knowing full well that it will result in a shutdown. A big player in all of this is House Speaker Kevin McCarthy. Essentially, the House has a leader for each party and a leader for the entire House, who is voted on by the House as a whole. McCarthy has to work out a compromise with both the Democrat majority Senate and the Democrat President Biden that the members of his party will also agree to. For example, if the House of Representatives passes a overly conservative bill, the Senate is sure to vote it down right away. So this compromise is necessary to getting things done and keeping the government open. But here's the snag. Because the House Speaker has to be voted in, and because none of the Democrats would vote for McCarthy, nearly every single Republican has to. Because of these narrow margins, the Freedom Caucus, 45 of the 222 Republicans, essentially have the power to oust McCarthy at any point if he does something they don't like. So now McCarthy has to juggle between the Senate's wants, the President's wants, and his party's wants, or he risks a government shutdown and/or losing his job. So what does Kevin McCarthy do in this situation?
I am directing our House committee to open a formal impeachment inquiry into President Joe Biden.
Republicans have been pushing for an impeachment inquiry into Biden since he was elected, and McCarthy knows this. 2 weeks before the budget deadline, McCarthy announced the impeachment inquiry into President Biden. We actually have a video that goes over everything you need to know about the Biden impeachment inquiry. So if you want to see that, it'll be linked at the end of this video. So was this impeachment inquiry a big coincidence, or was McCarthy just trying to get brownie points from his party that would hopefully soften the blow of a compromise to keep the government open? Perhaps a bit of both, but one thing is certain. As of the time of this video, the House of Representatives is in disarray and seems to be nowhere close to passing this new budget anytime soon. It is possible that a continuing resolution is passed between now and then, essentially giving Congress a little bit more time to get everything figured out. This may apply to the government as a whole or just certain categories of agencies, but a continuing resolution has come into play many, many times before. So what happens exactly if the government does shut down? Many non-essential government operations would stop immediately. Essential operations are things like military, post office, and law enforcement, though because there is no money in their budget, all who continue working do so without immediate pay. Don't worry, they do eventually get paid back for everything that they've done, but for many, a month without pay isn't easy. Other aspects of the country like national parks, social security, and even air travel would be partially or fully shut down. This would likely not last too long, since the longest shutdown in history was 35 days, but the effects will still be felt by many. So are the Republicans blackmailing Kevin McCarthy to sabotage the government, or are the Democrats in the Senate and the White House threatening shutdown unless the House of Representatives gives them what they want? Let us know what you think in the comments below, and if you'd like to know more about the impending Biden impeachment, we made a video about everything you need to know right here. Don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell icon to be notified for our next video. This has been The Political Stalker, and we will see you next time.